Well, hello, welcome to the channel and thanks for joining me. So today we're going to take a look at this Sanyo personal stereo, the MGP9, and I wanted to give you a quick overview because I've been asked a few times now about basic health checks and how to perhaps get old personal stereos working, how to clean them up if you've got them in your collection and that kind of thing. So we're going to give this a little bit of a once over today. We'll check the belt, we'll clean the heads, just check the battery compartment and all that kind of thing. Now, why the MGP9? Well, I had one when I was a kid in red, and I've featured this one I think already on the channel, but also I had the version with the radio as well in blue recently. I've restored that one for the channel, so do check that video out. And I thought, well, this is a perfect crossover between the two because it's the version I had as a kid, but it's also the blue one to match the one with my radio. So anyway, without further ado, let's see how we can start checking this thing over. I'll move these other two units out of the way. So the rain's just started. You may hear that hammering down on the roof, but that's not going to stop us. So basically then, first thing we want to do is just check whether or not the thing actually works at all. So to that end, we'll just put some batteries in and we'll just check the condition of the battery terminals. Now, if they are a little bit corroded, you can use some contact cleaner, or indeed I keep some lemon juice or lime juice or something like that in a little pot and just really clean away at the contacts until any of the corrosion has gone. Hopefully that should do the trick. The good news on some of these old units is that the battery compartment is usually kept a fair ways away from the circuit board, so if the batteries do leak, it doesn't normally interfere with the circuit board too much. More of a problem with the later and smaller and more complex units because obviously everything was much more densely packed in, but on this one you can generally get away with it. Plus also you've got a DC input as well, so that if the battery compartment is inoperative because of corrosion, you can also still see if it works by using the DC inlet with an adapter. So first of all then, let's just put some batteries in. So this one is 4.5 volts, so 3 batteries. And the first thing I'm going to do is just see if the play mechanism works. So we'll just open that up and see. And sure enough, yep, that works. That's great stuff. Okay, good. So I'll just take the batteries back out now. And then we'll try it from the DC power as well. So to that end, I have a variable voltage power supply, and this one's set to 4.5 volts, and it's a DC, and it's also a positive tip. Now make sure you get the polarity correct on the back because you can do damage if you use the wrong polarity. So this is set to 4.5 volts. So again, we'll plug that in and just try it, and again, that's working fine. Also put some gentle pressure on the roller there, and it actually seems to offer a fair amount of resistance, which suggests that the belt is in good condition as well. So what we'll do, now that we know that works, which is good news, is we'll just clean the head, and I'll show you that now at this early juncture, just because we can put a tape in and actually see if the headphone out works. So I'm just going to put some isopropyl alcohol there onto a little cotton bud or Q-tip. And the reason I've just bent it that way round is the access here is just inside. So all we're going to do is make a few passes across, you hear that squeak? Across the head. We're just pressing play in there just to expose the head. And then it looks pretty clean actually. And then whilst we're in there, we'll also try and clean the capstan. Just in case there's any sort of corrosion or ferrite deposit on that. And you can see actually already that it started to discolour, started to become some brown stuff on there. That's the ferrite coating off the tapes. So I'm just cleaning that away. And we'll polish it more. I'll polish it more afterwards off camera, but I just wanted to show you that. And also the pinch roller, which also comes out here against the capstan, if you partially press play, it will expose the roller. Sorry, I can't clean it and show you at the same time, but basically what it does is it exposes the roller, so we can move the isopropyl alcohol along the pinch roller and just rotate that as we do it, and that will clean it up. Actually, there's quite a fair bit of goo coming off of that, so that's pretty handy. Actually, it was worth doing that. So I'll go ahead and carry on cleaning that afterwards. However, for now, it's clean enough just to try an old tape in here. So what we'll do is we'll put a tape in and see if it actually works. We know it rotates, but does any sound come out? Whoops, daisy, does any sound come out? Now to that end, I've got some old matching Sanyo personal stereo speakers here, which will sound atrocious, I'm sure. However, it will at least let us know if the unit works. So press play, and we can see the mechanism going round. So we'll just, there we go, got a scratchy pot, I thought we might do. But anyway. Right. Right, sounds a bit scratchy. Oh, here we go. It's only just coming on though. Here we go. To be honest, it's classical music. It was one that came in an old stereo just now. So, there we go. It's actually working quite well, but it's got a very scratchy volume pot, so we'll clean that. And perhaps what I should do is put something in I'm more familiar with, just to make sure it's not sort of dragging or, you know, otherwise wobbling around. But anyway, we'll check the belt as well. But good news though is we did hear sound out of the left and the right speakers, so we know the headphone jack is okay, so that's good news. Right then, next thing we'll do is check the belt. And to that end, 3 little screws on this one. What you'll find is that there's always a screw, well, not always, but quite often there will be some sort of screw inside the battery compartment. So don't be tempted to force it, always look inside, because generally there will be some sort of fixing inside of here as well. So we'll just get that screw out of there. And then very carefully separate these. Always be a bit careful on the fragile, thinner plastic parts of the casing. They are easy to break, so just be careful when you're sort of breaking any tabs away or anything like that. So that's that one. Obviously there's no radio on this particular model, so there's no antenna or anything sort of attached to the back casing, so that can be put safely to one side. And as easy as that, there is the belt. Actually feels okay, I have to say. So what we can do is, if we wanted to at this stage, we could actually pipette a tiny drop of machine oil onto the roller for the motor there. Obviously make sure you don't get that on the belt. The belt itself, incidentally, is that easy to remove. In fact, I may even replace it yet. But what we'll do is use some more isopropyl alcohol to clean inside the pulleys. And any residual dust or belt deposit, we'll clean all of that out. And that'll help us to run the actual unit, to help us to clean everything up. So I'm just going to put a bit more isopropyl alcohol now onto the unit, onto the Q-tip, and I'm just going to kind of just about get into this pulley groove here, like so, and the same for here. I think what I might do is actually put a drop of oil onto the motor as well, just while we're here. And that will literally be, I don't know if this will pick up in focus or not, we're literally just going to take a drop of machine oil, and then we'll put that just inside. Hopefully get that to run. The pulley's located very close actually to the shaft, so you've got to make sure that we don't actually get any oil on the belt pulley, because obviously that will cause some sort of slippage and possibly even premature kind of perishing of the belt as well. So we just make sure that there's nothing on the pulley. And again, if needs be, a tiny bit more isopropyl alcohol. And we'll just get in there. Good. Now we're just going to try and find the belt. So I've just found the old belt, and you can see actually, possibly from this angle, but it's actually pointed where it's been stood for years around that small motor pulley, whereas obviously the replacement belt is just round as it should be. So one's like an egg shape and one's circular, so that's always a bonus. Right, okay, so having cleaned the pulleys, easier said than done sometimes. In fact, I'll put it around the small one, and then hopefully pull that around. Now that should be fine actually. Good. Okay, so now we know it's spinning all right. I'm just going to put a tape in. Just put a cassette in there, play that.
Here we go, this is the bug.
Good, okay. I'll stop that before any copyright strikes, but that's great. So now we wanted to just put a little bit of, there was a little bit of crackling in the volume pot, so we'll get some switch cleaner and we'll just put that, sorry, just off camera, just put a tiny bit of switch cleaner in there and just move that back and forth a bit. Sorry, just bring that back in. There we go. Lovely, so that's fixed that already. The motor's playing well, the belt's playing well, the motor's running fine. So basically that's pretty much it there now. So we'll give the, I think we'll give the inside of the mechanism a little bit of a clean up. And other than that, I think we're pretty much there on this one. Great stuff, there we go then. So all that remains now is to screw the back cover back on, just those 3 little screws, and give it a good polish. And so first up, we'll just use some car colour restorer on the plastic. I've mentioned before on these types of units that actually the ink and the foiling is actually on the reverse side of the lid, so we can, if we're careful, polish this up without worrying about taking the ink off. But do keep any harsh, abrasive or solvent-based cleaners away from the screen printed ink, like so. And just be careful of any, you know, make sure you try it, as they say, on an inconspicuous area first, maybe like inside the battery cover or something like that. But anyway, T-cut's absolutely fine for this job, so I'm going to go on and do that now. And then we'll put some wax on there and then put some vinyl cleaner on the back. So first pass with the cutting compound, and she's already a fair bit cleaner. Obviously that's just the grime from the compound on there. So now we'll get some wax on there, courtesy of some car polish here. and we'll get that on, and that'll take some of the minor scratches out. The T-cut's done the first pass. We won't get it perfect, but we'll certainly be able to give her a nice little shine. So there's a bit more of a shine on there. Not perfect yet, we'll buff it in a minute, but just to go on the back now, we're going to put some vinyl cleaner, and we'll just see how that starts to wet into the back of this plastic on the back. Often better really than wax for the back plastic, because this has got a texture to it. The wax can get all caught up in there, so we're just gonna buff some vinyl cleaner into this, and it will come up a treat. And you really don't need much of this. You'll see how it starts to wet into the plastic, and we'll let that soak in, and then we'll just come back and buff everything up in a few minutes. And so here she is then. So we've cleaned the head, we've cleaned the capstan and the pinch roller. We've changed the belt. We've just given her a good check over, cleaned all the internal mechanism, checked it on batteries, checked it on DC voltage. We put some cleaner down the headphone jack, and also got the crackle out of the volume potentiometer as well. And basically all that by undoing 3 screws, 1 very small belt and a bit of elbow grease. So there you go, much better condition now, and one for the collection. So I hope you found that useful. I know it was only a short and sweet video today, not terribly technical, but a nice thing to do, because quite often we have these old units come in and they've just been a bit unloved. You know, they've been put in the back of a cupboard or stored in a drawer somewhere, and they just need bringing back to life. You know, at the end of the day, they were actually made really well back in the day, and they will survive over the years, and they'll come back and survive for many more if we want to. So again, thanks very much indeed for watching. Please do subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates. We've got loads of personal stereos, 8-track players, recorders, boom boxes, all kinds of stuff that we're working on at the moment. So it'd be great to have you along for the ride, and thanks very much for watching. See you soon. Goodbye.